Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bees in a Pod. I'm your host, Mo, and unfortunately, our co host, Mash, cannot make it today. He's going up Ben Nevis, I think that's what it's called. He's going up a mountain to raise money for a maternity ward in Bangladesh alongside a whole bunch of other people. So, a very, very noble cause. But yeah, so it's just me today. And today we're doing a special episode for South Asian Heritage Month. And we're here with our founding member and CEO, Syed Uddin, to talk a bit about the kind of work we do at LIC and kind of within the context of South Asian heritage. So, Syed, firstly, for those who don't know you, do you want to give a quick round introduction in terms of who you are, what you do at LIC?
Yeah, it's great to be back on the podcast. I remember being on the very first episode, and
That's right.
it's great to see that it's going strong. And I'm excited
New
to
set.
yeah,
Shout out
great.
to you
Yeah.
for approving the budget.
Well, I still don't know how much it costs. We'll get to that.
It was a good deal.
So a bit about me. My name is Syed Uddin, and I'm one of the founding members of Leaders in Community. I was like 19 years old back in 2006, and just felt that, you know, we want to be, as young people at that time, we want to be decision makers. We want to cut out the middlemen, so to speak. We thought we had great ideas that would really benefit our peers, particularly those from ethnic minority backgrounds and mixed heritage backgrounds. And we just wanted to find out, like, what do we need to do to get money to, you know, bring our vision into reality. And here we are, about 18 years later, I believe.
It's amazing. So what motivated you to establish Leaders in Community? And just I do, again, because of the theme, South Asian Heritage Month, I do want to kind of understand from that perspective as well, as a person of Bangladeshi origin within Tower Hamlets, a very young borough, and a borough with, was it about 30% Bangladeshi population, definitely one of the larger ethnic minority populations, with a very rich history here, a rich and tragic history, and a very proud history as well. So what motivated you to establish Leaders in Community?
Yeah, I wanted to create. I mean, each of the founding members of Leading Community probably had their own personal motivations for it, but I think one of the things that we're all united in was that we wanted to create a space that was for all young people. I mean, there was definitely a disconnect between me and my peers from like Bangladesh background and people of an older generation. You know, I think we were a lot more connected to London and growing up here in this country, and we just felt like the decision makers at the time didn't really understand our needs, kind of set in their ways a little bit. There was a lot of barriers as well in terms of being able to express our needs on the changes that we wanted to see happen. We felt that change was happening at too slow of a pace. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why we kind of set up Leaders in Community, so that we can have a little bit more control over, you know, provide the kind of support that we know our peers needed at that time.
Was there any other element of kind of, because I know a big issue for young people now is employability, was that still an issue for you at the time when you were establishing LIC with all the other founding members?
Yeah, unfortunately, Tower Hamlets is one of the most deprived boroughs in the whole country. And I mean, where we work now in Tevye, I mentioned it last time, it ranks very highly on the index for multiple deprivation. There's like specific wards that we operate in. Sorry about that. Very unprofessional.
It's okay. It's okay. The listeners will forgive you.
Yeah, sorry, that's my wife, by the way. I'll get in trouble later. No, so yes, it's always been an area that's been kind of poverty stricken, but has bred very resilient individuals. So very entrepreneurial people that think outside of the box to overcome life's challenges, really. And so yeah, in that sense, it hasn't really changed. We're still experiencing high levels of poverty and deprivation in this area, but it's a weird juxtaposition now between very, very, very rich areas within Tower Hamlets itself, not least the Canary Wharf kind of districts. We neighbour the City of London, and Stratford and the Olympic legacy and all the opportunities that came with that. So I feel like residents and young people here just been pushed to the side a bit more to make room for some of these shiny new buildings and developments, and almost like being swept under the carpet to an extent. So yeah, like people are still trying to improve their quality of life, and I do feel like the goalposts have shifted a little bit. So when I was younger, most people didn't have complete school. All of my friends, brothers, all went into like the restaurant trade just to do manual labor. Essentially, they lived all over the UK, working 6 days a week for some sort of employment. And we've kind of we broke that cycle. My age, my generation, we started performing better academically. And now you'll find people from, say, Southeast Asian heritage backgrounds breaking into new sectors, particularly the public sector, more kind of becoming civil servants, working for local authorities and housing providers, etc. So we've begun that process of breaking into new areas of employment, but there are still so many sectors that we are very much underrepresented, and largely because our young people and our communities, people from our backgrounds, are completely unaware of the opportunities that are out there that surround them in this area, that are available to them. We don't have any insight into these different sectors. So there's no one we can speak to. Say, hey, what's your job? Oh, is that what you do? You work in the creative sector? You work in the finance sector? You do that in construction? I didn't know that was part of construction. What on earth? How much do you make? So we don't get to have those kind of conversations. We don't really have relatives in these various fields of work, and so we're still largely ignorant of what's available to us. And secondly, I feel that when I say we, it'll be for the rest of the podcast, I'll be referring to people from South Asian heritage backgrounds. Um, we need a bit of confidence. We lack a bit of confidence. A lot of people don't know their worth. Like, I'll be good enough to do these kind of jobs. You know, is my experience valued? How would I be perceived? Surely there's a good reason why there aren't more people that look like me in these sectors. So that was a challenge then. That's still a challenge now. With the landscape's changed slightly. Like I said, people are now securing jobs that they weren't really secure when I first started out, when we first set up leading the community. But we've got a long way to go to level that playing field, to ensure that opportunities are a lot more kind of diverse and actually inclusive.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to hear you expand on it a bit more in terms of how LIC have supported the South Asian community in Tower Hamlets specifically over the years.
I think, yeah, the first point was, I mean, myself, I occupy, and yourself, Mo, and all the people that work at LIC, our alumni, our amazing young people that make decisions on how the charity should be run and who it should be run for, and how to reach out and support the communities that we serve. We occupy a position of power now, and we have that lived experience. We are relatable, I would like to think, to everybody of all ages. And so that's breaking barriers just there. Us and other organizations like us as well doing fantastic work right the way across London and England. So yeah, we show people that you can occupy positions of authority. You won't be held back by your ethnicity or background. You can affect and impact change. In fact, you're very important. You're far more important than you realize you are. Let's help you realize your power and your potential and your worth. So that's that. So that's one thing, and the other thing as well is because we now, as an organization, we have this credibility. We've been around for a long time. We've built up some fantastic partnerships. We're communicating to employers whose values kind of align with our mission statement, and we want them to tap into this rich talent pool of local young people, particularly those from Black, Asian, and mixed heritage backgrounds. And in Tower Hamlets, there's lots of young people that come from that have a Southeast Asian heritage as well. So we're trying to connect the dots, and that's what
Mm.
LIC is doing. So we're informing young people of the opportunities that are available to them. We're dispelling myths where we come across them. This sector is not for you. That's not true. This sector doesn't really pay well. This sector only provides this kind of job. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's actually connect and introduce you to somebody that is from that world, that you can have a direct, frank conversation with, ask them whatever you want, you know. Listen, just check out their journey, their story, and let's help map out your journey to accessing good quality opportunities. So that's what LIC is in. So that's step one. And the second thing is talking directly to employers now, raising our profile, saying, "Hey, we're here. We've been here for a while. You are missing out. Let's work together."
So what do you love about working here? Because clearly you love something about it. You've been here for so long. Um, what's yeah? What do you love about the work that you do?
That every year feels completely different. Every initiative, every campaign is fresh and exciting because it's led by young people. You know,
Do you have any kind of examples of the things that you've really stood out for you over the last few years?
well, we can start with what we're doing right now. So the other thing I love about leading communities who I work with as well, that includes yourself, Mo. Known you since you was a young person. A few other staff members as well began life as participants, as young people here at Leaders in Community. And you've put your spin on things. So I didn't dream up bees in a pod. That's I don't know where that came from in your mind, but it's a platform. It's a powerful platform as well. As I mentioned last time, um, it appears to be very light touch, but a lot of sincerity and a lot of thought went into this format, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing here, what you're trying to achieve. So like this is new. I wasn't doing this when I was 19 years old. This is good. The Bees and Pod is a great example of what I love about LIC. It's about taking the concept of a podcast and actually making it distinctly LIC. And actually, talking to young people. We've got our adult beekeeping course. We champion, you know, healthy eating and taking care of the environment and reducing waste, etc.
And the other
So
day,
this is where this idea came from, right?
Job was doing his session with the young people with Be Inspired, and he's talking to them about what we do, and he was going for our Instagram specifically. And a lot of the young people follow us on Instagram. They're like, "Hey, what's the deal with all the bees? Why do I see bees everywhere?" And then all of a sudden, I see Job run up to my window, and he's like, "Momo, give me that good jar of honey." and I gave it to him. He was like, "I'll explain later." So he went back and he was just trying to explain to him, like, the reason why we champion bees so much is the beekeeping course is one of our kind of longest running legacy pieces, right? It's been a very proud and very unique offer. Like, for the majority of its existence, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either been free or very, very affordable compared to any other beekeeping course available in Tower Hamlets or even like, wider London. I'm not
Yeah,
quite.
the last 3-4 years, our course, adult beekeeping course, has been completely free. I say adult, but families come as well. People bring
Yeah,
their children along. There's
yeah,
some
yeah.
very young beekeepers. We have our own hives now, and actually, that's one of the projects. Again, I mentioned in the last podcast where it just transcends every barrier that I can think of. It 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 helps people from different backgrounds, including the Southeast Asian community, to share a space with their neighbors, with others, because everybody can see the benefit of organic honey. Or actually, I'm not allowed to call it organic because we don't know
No.
where the bees are pollinating,
Yeah.
right? But essentially, as close to organic as possible.
Yeah,
So
local honey.
it's local honey. It's Tower Hamlets. A lot of people are wising up to the benefits of looking after our bees and our insects and our environments, and that has helped us open. It's helped open the doors to having conversations around just healthy living, healthy eating, which in turn leads to better well-being, tapping into our cultural heritage, our knowledge, sharing best practice, sharing it across the board to people of all backgrounds, and it's helping bridging some of these gaps. So it's just showing the value that people, the knowledge that people already possess and how it can benefit everybody essentially. So the other thing I love about working, I mean, in the last few years, we've had this community space. We've been working towards managing our own community space for years and years and years. So this is a huge sense of accomplishment, and the young people they decide what runs here and how it should be run, particularly when it comes to supporting their peers. It also allows our young people to meet and engage and speak to adults and a wide range of community groups, people that they wouldn't ordinarily probably get the opportunity to speak with, to get to know, to find out what their challenges are, to come up with ways to shine a spotlight of any on injustices perhaps that wider community groups are facing as well. So yeah, amazing. Every year's been a new challenge, but I think we've just grown from strength to strength.
So on challenges, what kind of challenges have you been facing in terms of leading the organization, and including upcoming challenges? You know, like potentially not being able to manage this space anymore, as a real kind of potential challenge upcoming, and um, the impact that might have on our young people, our communities, and also more broadly, kind of challenges in terms of more kind of your leadership and managing an organization in the current kind of climate.
Yeah, well, in terms of the current climate, we're still going through like a cost of living crisis as well. That's impacting on families and young people. That's always, the especially like our communities, people from Southeast Asian background, always struggled historically financially. This is just, I feel like it's set a lot of families and young people back years. People finally exploring new opportunities, new kind of paid opportunities, and suddenly their pockets feel light again, despite the fact that they're earning income and employment. Um, the amount of people that are having to access our local food banks, and hopefully our food co-op is supporting a lot of those families as well. We've seen that we have lots of conversations with people around what they're going through. So challenges, and as an organisation, we're fundraising as well. This pot just seems to be getting smaller and smaller, and having to be shared out amongst a much larger uh, group of much larger numbers of other charities that are all doing fantastic work, by the way. So there's less money to go around, less support available. So that's a challenge. That's always a challenge. On the flip side to that, we're growing as an organisation as well. I think our our value, our services are recognized at a national level as well. Certainly across London, partners recognize what we bring to the table. I think our work kind of speaks for itself. I'm really proud of what we do, and so we're able to, we're expanding our team. So that comes with that comes a few positive challenges to make sure that we still stay true to ourselves, our vision, and we don't dilute the quality of our work as well. It just adds strength. We want to expand. We want to share all of our experiences and good practice more widely. So we want to expand into other spaces. And as for this space, it's been a wonderful opportunity to actually develop a holistic approach to supporting young people in communities. So, we work with them, meet them, meet their needs. So it might be building up confidence and employability skills, or providing a social hub for a group, supporting their well-being, etc. So we build up relationships with people, and then we get these different groups of individuals that we're supporting from all backgrounds and ages to actually engage in dialogue, get to know one another, form connections, gaining insight into each other's happiness and struggles, create a sense of empathy, build in a sense of empathy into our leaders as part of their leadership journey. It's such an important quality that not all leaders possess. So, when our young people occupy some form of leadership later, whether that's at work, at home, wherever, that they retain this sense of humanity and empathy, that they know their decisions will have an impact on a lot of people, and that they are mindful of that impact. They're mindful of the power that they possess. So that's what this space has enabled us to do. It's helped us connect the dots between a food co-op project and our women's empowerment project, you know? So it's almost like we can offer a curriculum of services that's helping our young people and communities grow and benefit from. And I think that's one of a strong case that we're making, that a grassroots organization managing a community space is able to respond quite rapidly and meet the needs of a wide range of individuals and groups.
Exactly, and to kind of further on that, Tower Hamlets is a very young borough, as we've mentioned, and what better kind of access and expertise to manage a community space than a grassroots youth organization, right? some like you know we yeah that gap is bridged by us, like you said, and those connections between young people and the community, and also making sure that it's kind of representative for the next generation. Like you know we are bang in the middle of a space that is going through regeneration right now, right? And it's a regeneration that young people now, young people who are like 14, 15, 16, 17 now, by the time this regeneration is complete, they'll be full-fledged adults in the middle of their careers. And so this center, what kind of things are built up now is what they'll benefit from later, right? So food co-op that is supporting, and it kind of ties into all the other kind of curriculums, and is influenced, and brings some of the learnings and the benefits into other, you know, youth groups or community groups, and they'll benefit from it, right, in 20 years time. So we definitely have that unique edge, and yeah, it's yeah. Well,
So our role here is involvement. But I mean, bringing it back to connecting it to South Asian Heritage Month. Say when our difference between when I when we founded Leading Community and now is that people from more diverse backgrounds are now more invested and involved in decision making that goes on around that impacts on them and their families and their lives. And it includes young people as well, right? So there are platforms and forums and avenues for local residents of all backgrounds, particularly those from um, South Asian heritage, to actually get involved and have their say on things that are going to affect them. And historically, that wasn't really the case. So there has been a lot of progress.
mm,
And having a grassroots organization like us means that we can connect the dots, we can raise awareness, we can let people know that this is what's happening. You're involved, your voice has power, you're welcome as well to get involved and find out what's happening and provide your input and your say. So it's young people and their families as well. And even within South Asian heritage, people from the background, you'd find usually it might be like the male in that family that's involved in like the local politics or decision making. So that was state phase one. That's no longer the case now. Everybody's involved. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has their own individual voice. A lot of the women from our communities historically were kind of denied these opportunities to get involved in shaping decisions for the future around region, around service delivery. And now look at the relationships that we built up for managing this space and all the work we've done through like our Be Inspired Women's Empowerment Project as well, and the other community groups that we support. They have their own opinions and their own voices, and hopefully, part of our job is to um, provide the platform and the confidence, help improve confidence levels so that people do take advantage of those opportunities and get involved, not least young people as well. So those are some of the positive changes within people from the South Asian communities.
so inspire some of these kind of challenges, and obviously there's a huge amount of work to do, and you've got personal life, you've got family life. How do you manage to stay true to yourself in the work that you do?
Yeah, because who I'm surrounded by. So, like I work with the most amazing, passionate individuals that embody and truly like showcase through your actions that you really believe in our vision and mission.
Mm.
Here's an organization we found out very quickly if you didn't really believe in our cause. And so I'm in good company. This kind of work attracts people that are generally caregivers, that are generally the peacekeepers within their homes and friendship groups. Um, and we support one another because we can relate to one another very well, and hopefully that's why our young people find us so relatable as well.
Mm.
We've all experienced some form of trauma as well. We've had insights into some of these challenges, these stats that you see in the report on them and the index for multiple deprivation. We've lived through that, or are continuing to live through some of these challenges and barriers that people read about in reports or in newspapers or watching a movie. This is our everyday lives. So I know I'm in good company, and we keep each other's energy levels up. We help maintain that sense of hope and optimism amongst one another. So that like that's all I want in life, is to be surrounded by good people. my number one goal. So that's how I do that, and hopefully, I can retain my sense of individualism, the things that I like about me, that still remains.
Yeah. Um, so kind of looking forward now, what do you envision for the future of leaders in community, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah, I want us to be recognized, particularly in this part of London, for us being like the champions, really, really promoting uh, racial equality and equity in terms of providing good job opportunities for our young people, particularly for our young people, particularly those from Black, Asian, and mixed heritage background. So we're partnered with some fantastic organizations that are leading the charge that we're learning from ourselves. And there's plenty of work to be done here in Tower Hamlets. So that's what I want us to be recognized for, particularly in this borough, that we're at the forefront of these positive changes and providing, like I said, good quality opportunities and jobs for those young people so that we can improve our futures and improve our quality of life. So there's that. And in order to do that, I want us to kind of consolidate our learnings, some of our unique journey. It's been a long process getting to where we are right now. Consolidate that and share that with employers, share that with schools, kind of expand out a little bit. And I want our young people to be sharing that knowledge, that training, that insight that they've gained. They're the leaders. So providing far more paid opportunities for our young people. We're already providing quite a few paid opportunities for our alumni members. We've, people know that we've recruited former young people as staff, you being one of them, Mo. But I want us to consolidate what we've learned and share that so everybody else can benefit from that. And I want our young people to get paid for that. That would be, that'd be a dream come true. That's our next step.
Oh, amazing. All right, we're gonna pause for a quick ad break, internal ads. Just gonna let everybody know about the opportunities that we have here at LIC. It'll be a minute of your time, so we'd really appreciate if you just kind of stuck along and listened. And we'll be right back for the kind of last bit of our chat. Thank you. This episode is brought to you by Leaders in Community. Who are Leaders in Community? For over 10 years, Leaders in Community have been supporting young leaders, creating young leaders, and supporting communities around Tower Hamlets. How do they do this? Well, with many, many years of experience in social action, social justice, professional development, personal development, Leaders in Community support young people into becoming active and vocal contributors for their community. That means that not only do they learn how to tackle local issues, regional, international, and personal issues, but they also build up their employability skills, help them get a job, help them get set on their career path. And currently, they are managing the Teviot Centre in Poplar, London, supporting community groups in doing many, many different activities, all the way from yoga, men's fitness, all the way to beekeeping. That's right, beekeeping. We have people that look after bees and we train them for free. So if you want to get involved or learn or fund, that's right, this ad is also for funders. If you want to fund or partner with Leaders in Community, the sponsors of Bees in the Pod, make sure you email us at info@leadersincommunity.org or give us a call on 0207 987 5764. That's info@leadersincommunity.org or 0207 987 5764. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Welcome back from the break, everyone. Hope that was informative and you found some interesting tidbits to get involved with there. Syed. So
Yeah, I think I've had enough of your questions now. Yeah, I'm always on this side of the table. I think I want to turn the tables on you so you know what it feels like a little bit. I have a few questions that have been sent in to us as well. A few things that I would love to know a bit more about. We never really get to do this. Just step away from work and just have this conversation, pick your brains a little bit. Just share your thoughts. We're so busy doing so much for others.
Yeah,
I think this would be a nice opportunity to maybe get an insight in terms of your thoughts and how your weird and wonderful brain works. Yeah. All right. So one for me is let's see. Well, you was a young person here at Leading Community. We worked with so many young people, and now you're a staff member at LIC. And I kind of want to know what that formula was. Like, how do I encourage more of our young people to either work here at LIC, move into this kind of field? So yeah, what influenced you? What was the catalyst in terms of you going from being a young person, benefiting, getting to know us, and then saying, "Oh, I actually want to do this as a
Yeah,
career."
I want to become a full-time bee.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been thinking about this because I just came back from some training with our amazing friends at Citizens UK. Shout out to them. We're a brand new member. But it was really interesting because we did a session on storytelling. And they asked some really good questions to kind of really get me thinking about why I am where I am. And I remembered something. So I know we met when I was about 12, 13, but when I was much younger, I think around 7 or 8, I can't remember what cartoon it was, but it was a cartoon that I was watching that the storyline was something along the lines of, it might have been Kids Next Door or something. I can't remember, but it was like they'd grown up, and it was like a look into the future. It might have been Rugrats actually. They'd grown up and they'd kind of become really great adults. They lost the sense of imagination and the fun that they had as a child. And when I was watching that, that terrified me because I've had a very, very active imagination as a child. Like I definitely remember very vividly. I'd be that weird kid on the playground, just like I'd literally be so lost in my own head. I'd be like in a corner, like laughing, and pretending I'm like a mad scientist. Like that's a specific memory I have where I was playing with my friends and we had like a whole world around the whole playground, and every section of the playground was a different kind of physical place, and we were like playing out like role playing kind of like a whole adventure. And nobody was around me. My friends were like coming to me in as part of the adventure, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the mad scientist. So I was literally just this kid in the corner,
Yeah, that sounds
like
cool.
like laughing to myself.
That was me in secondary school, much older than you. Yeah, but it really was.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what's even more sad? I'm pretty sure it's Rugrats because I've seen that episode.
I'm pretty sure it
But
is.
yeah, God.
But that stuck with me because I really, really did not want to be. I made a promise to myself when I was a child, like I don't want to be that boring adult, and I kept that with me as I grew up, and I was like, well, I should not care how other people see me because the most important thing to me is having fun and having an active imagination and being able to just kind of just I don't like that restriction. And secondary school, like my primary school is amazing. So William Borough, shout out to you guys. Avril, do you remember Avril?
Yeah, I heard the news.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. She was an incredible, credible human being. She was so. I don't want to think. I'm gonna get very emotional, but she was such an instrumental part of my childhood. And
Oh, and
in
that area as well.
yeah, she's touched so many
Yeah.
lives, and yeah. So the change from my primary school to secondary school is huge, and the secondary school is very different. It was very, very strict. Um, More so kind of later on. At the start, my secondary school's not in a great place. It was kind of a couple, um, not even a couple. It was literally on the final warning. Before we were literally having discussions with our teachers, like, hey, you might be getting sent away to different schools. You might be split from your friends. We're literally having that conversation in year 8, and then we kind of school changed and it got kind of acquired, went in a whole different direction, and it became kind of on paper a lot better. Definitely, the standards were raised. They definitely got better teachers, definitely got better resources. But as with a lot of schools during that period, it wasn't just my school, schools all across the country. It was just a big shift in how schools were run. Um, it was a lot more strict in the sense of limiting young people's ability to question things and ask questions and be actively involved and being able to express themselves and be them.
Do you think it stifled creativity?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I felt like I could not. like even in the most literally like creative kind of subject, English literacy, where we're exploring all these books and we had to have a written assignment. I was I, wa- I got told certain things I couldn't do. I can't remember specifically what, but I remember I had some pretty wild out there kind of stories I wanted to write, but I wasn't allowed. Um, and it definitely stifled me. And I think that I felt suffocated in school. I felt like I couldn't be me, and that in turn made me kind of act out a little bit. I wasn't violent. I wasn't. I was a bit, definitely a bit rebellious. I was angry more than anything. I was extremely angry, extremely frustrated, extremely annoyed. I was in an overcrowded house at home. My parents had their own struggles that they was dealing with, and then I had to go to school and deal with this place that just kept me closed up, did not listen to me, did not care what I had to say, and made me learn in a way that I could not learn. I don't learn. I learn I'm definitely one of the kind of person that learns in conversation and discussions, and I like to take it away and then process it. So and school did not, like, it was literally, this is it, memorize it, and I can't do that. Um and so when I found out about LIC, um it was through the music program, and I was like in that phase where I was watching School of Rock, and Jack Black really, really had a huge influence on me. Definitely on my humor, but also in playing the guitar. And I was like, yeah, I wanna be like him. And so I started learning guitar at home by myself. My dad had an old Spanish guitar, and then my brother walked past what was then the Burdett Community Center, um, and yeah, you guys were doing live music, and he told me, "Oh, yo, they got like a drum kit, they got electric guitar. You should go down and check them out." So I went down there, and then the kind of rest was history. And LIC the became the kind of place for me to be able to most authentically be myself. And there was a whole lot of
Oh, I
trust.
saw a lot of that.
Yeah, I yeah, I got to really, really, really express myself.
I can tell you from my perspective, you're completely normal. Never, nah, I never saw that angry side of you, and yeah, that's all I wanted was the young people that I worked with, especially through music, just to express yourself rather than bottling yourself up. And definitely, those instruments helped everybody do that in their own way, right?
Yeah,
So it's super cool for me as well. I think you was 12. I must have been only like, how old was I? 21,
yeah,
22.
yeah,
Very young.
yeah. It was amazing, and I think I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself. I know this is only one question,
Yeah.
uh, but I do feel like it for me. It's not a straightforward question because I do think the context is needed, because, like you said, and I think there's a very common way that I envision the kind of young person LIC really, really stands to support. And I was the kind of young person I was at one point. And it's the young person that's quiet at the back of the class, um, doesn't talk much, doesn't make much of a nuisance in class. And so the teachers and the kind of system assumes they'll be fine. When the reality is, you don't know what kind of things they are dealing with that they're being just quiet about. Just because they're not disrupting, screaming in the class, and kind of putting themselves in a position where they'll be sent to exclusion or PRU, doesn't mean that they don't need that same kind of level of support. So it's a different sort of support, but it's still support that's needed.
So do you feel that actually now that you work at LIC, you bring that lived experience to the table and you can ensure that the decisions that we make, as you know, as a former young person, I mean, still compared to other organizations, they'll still consider you a young person as
Yeah,
well. So because we work with really young people, that we classify everyone a little bit differently. But then you get to ensure that, you know, we do still service and support
yeah.
young people that just like you,
Well, the
younger.
biggest evidence that I have was the fact that I was allowed to sit as a board trustee apprentice. Like, I literally got to go sit at the board meetings. I got to talk to the trustees at the time as a young person. I got to say what I think matters. And LIC had that trust that I can be in that space. And then on top of that, be allowed to sit in the rooms with decision makers, with kind of senior people in housing associations, with local MPs. When one of my kind of friends put someone that a young man that was in my year group sadly got like stabbed and died. I was allowed to be in that room where all the local decision makers, super senior people, the local MP were there, and I got to kind of air my frustrations and point out the kind of hypocrisies in the sense of like I was like, why did it take this for us to all be in a room? Like I've been with LIC, like doing work locally. At that point, it'd been about 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and I'm like we've never all been in one room together with me as a young person, as a youth representative, um, and also pointing out to everyone else like, where are your youth representatives? Some of you work with young people. Why are they not here? And I'd hear, oh yeah, but we didn't think this was an appropriate thing. But why are they not? Why are they not getting the support to be able to be in that space to challenge it? And moreover, like why? And I also pointed out to them, and they never got there. I never got an answer for that, and or response to that. And I was like, I don't think this meeting's not going to happen again. Where's the follow up? Is there going to be a follow up from this? And there never was. There was never another meeting after that. At least not one that we were privy to. Um, yeah. LIC kind of definitely provided that trust in me to be able to make sure that other young people get that support. And I definitely think through being able to see all and supporting all different elements of the organization as the organization's been developing has given me the opportunity to make sure that whatever works for me and whatever I gain from it, other young people also, and our current young people also get to gain from it.
Cool. So, what kind of partners and institutions that you've worked with have really helped shaped your development, or are you most excited about, especially in regards to the work that we do, supporting young people, but supporting young people in communities from South Asian heritage?
I think definitely our kind of friends at Action for Race Equality, um, particularly kind of more on the policy side to make sure that um, as governments come and go and ministers, senior people come and go, that our needs are always represented and are pushed to be accepted into policy, which is super important. Um, Citizens UK is a new one that we've just been involved with, but I kind of did some work with them way back as a young person as well. But
So did LIC, yeah.
yeah,
Over 10 years ago, we worked with them and we just reconnected all this
yeah,
time. Yeah.
and definitely kind of more on the power front to help young people understand the power they have and how to wield that power and how to build those relationships is super important and vital. Violence Reduction Unit, part of the Mayor of London's team. It's they're kind of funding and supporting and creating the infrastructure for us to then work for youth organizations that support young people in these kind of different dilemmas, not only just to fight against violent crime and that sort of stuff, and but also fight the root of the cause, which a lot of time is employability. It is things like substance abuse. It is overcrowding. It's all these kind of root causes which cause the symptoms, which is crime, which is violence, which is mental health issues. And yeah, the infrastructure that they've created is vital, I think, in supporting young people. There's the list can go on. London Youth, creating that network for employability, connecting employers and charities to young people and providing those opportunities. I could go on, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind because they're the ones that that I've worked with most recently.
Yeah, helping to improve social mobility,
Yeah,
and really, I think, get our target audience, the young people, especially those that come from South Asian heritage, understand the challenges that they're going through, and trust in us as an organization to meet those needs. to, shine a spotlight on them and raise their profile. So yeah, I think it's a good examples. I'm glad that, and you work quite closely with them. You do a lot of stuff from the marketing front as well.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so so I want to ask you kind of what you asked me earlier as well. What do you think are some of the common challenges that young people are facing when it comes to employment and employability? Um, and then from your perspective and the work that you do, what's LIC doing to address that? And what would you like to see us do more of?
So I might need you to repeat that question and parts of that question a bit. But
Yeah,
to
go on.
firstly, in terms of the challenges young people are facing in terms of employability, um, I think overcrowding is a huge one because I mean I speak on that because I had to deal with that and I understand how much that can um, damage your employability prospects just through um, the place where it puts you in mentally, emotionally, what you have to kind of deal with in terms of it really creates a barrier because when you're kind of haven't got space at home, you come going from school, which are public schools are overcrowded. There's loads of young people packed into a single school, to a home that is overcrowded. Where do you have space? It can feel very claustrophobic for young people, and I think that will directly have an impact on their employability prospects because they will not feel motivated as much to push themselves and grow. Um, Secondly, definitely um, the lack of meaningful work experience. I think schools provide some mandatory work experience for young people, but often it is not. In my opinion, I don't think it's meaningful in the sense of it gives them a taste of work life, sure, but are they leaving with actual tangible skills? Fair enough, it's a week, but maybe work experience shouldn't be a week. I know some places do placements now, which is a great step forward. So they have a set number of hours that they have to do at an organization over the period of a year. I think that's amazing. I think that's a really really good step forward because you then have the ability to gain tangible work experience. But not enough young people. That's restricted to very specific types of courses, and also that's at college level. I don't think you get that at GCSE level. Um, but definitely, I think the barrier is meaningful work experience, and that's something that LIC I think are really good at supporting with. Is both in house when we host young people, we make sure that their experience is holistic, that they are going away with skills that they can use in a workplace. Then also the work placements that we offer is in places that most places can't get because it's a specialized placement that we forged through our partnerships. What's the other parts of your question?
Yes, anything that you like to see us do more of?
Well, I think we're already setting the stage for the kind of things I want us to do more of, which is kind of, I mean, because I'm doing the marketing, more marketing focused or creative things for young people to do, which we've done in the past. We still do currently, but I think firstly, it's difficult because to find a specific grant and pot of funding to support young people in this kind of very specific creative niche is difficult. But I think we've already set the groundworks to to launch this thing for young people. But I think we are already offering in terms of making sure the young people have a stable future, having a stable um, opportunity to grow and learn and develop personally, professionally. I think we've got everything on lock. I think, like you said earlier, it's a matter of expanding now and making sure other young people can access those opportunities, making sure we can pay young people for their time because their time is valuable, and money is an obstacle, and that's why I think it's no surprise that as soon as we started offering bursaries for young people, that um, uptick went up significantly, and then also the meaningful impacts that the young people felt after they left the course went up significantly. because we've been doing pre and post evaluation for young people for a while, and the way that the amount that they got out of the session went up significantly, because I imagine a good portion of that was because the stress of having some financial burden lifted, even if it's a small amount, is still significant, because that's money that their parents don't have to spend, or they don't have to feel awkward to get from their parents, or hours they have to spend. You know what I mean? It's money that even just to cover travel, to cover food. The fact that we offer food is another huge bonus. But yeah, that in a nutshell, I think that's my answer.
Cool. I liked a bit to that as well. I'd say just going back to some of your earlier questions as well. We've got young people here now that we introduce them to decision making. Well, give them opportunities to make key decisions from a very early age, so they become accustomed to being involved from a really early age. So they should recognize there's an injustice if they're not being invited to make decisions later on in life. That, hey, I should be part of this decision. This affects me. This affects people I know. I have something of value to offer, and particularly that fact that we're working with a lot of young people that come from Black, Asian, mixed heritage background, particularly those from South Asian heritage, that they care about everybody in the community and society. They are making decisions that are benefiting everybody, hopefully. So that breaks down some like historical barriers that they used to face, and it helps improve community cohesion as well, giving these young people these leadership opportunities. So we're heading in the right direction, and I'm excited for what the future holds. This area, we're no strangers to struggle in Tower Hamlets. Yes, I didn't go through COVID as a young person, and that is something that is unique to a certain generation as well. Very challenging, but like I said, that we've all been through our struggles and challenges. But I think our voices are getting louder, and there's a growing collective of individuals that are supporting one another. And so, we're not alone in facing this struggle. And, everything, as a result of that, everything looks and feels very positive.
Yeah, I feel hopeful.
Yeah.
And on that note, then let's wrap up. Sure. It's been a very good conversation, very interesting conversation. Definitely got me very reflective. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Syed.
No, thanks for having me on. Look forward to the next time.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Bees in a Pod. I've been your host, Mo. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit a notification to make sure you're alert when new episodes come out. And be sure to keep an eye on our Instagram for opportunities. We also have newsletters available for people to sign up if you want to know what's been going on. All of that will be in the description. But yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.